This is a CRP Minute, a product of the Cage Rage podcast. If you have not liked us yet on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, look us up, hit the like button. We're bringing you daily content, filling you in on all the stories leading up to the big events in the world of combat sports. And I want to cover right now the main event for this Saturday's UFC 235, this Saturday on pay-per-view, between longtime light heavyweight king Jon Jones and the challenger Anthony Lionheart Smith. And I want to profile Anthony Smith because this is a very good story, very good comeback story of perseverance, and it's somebody that really never threw in the towel, through a lot of failures leading up to this world title fight. He's somebody that stayed on the grind even after big letdowns, got better, and now finds himself in a position to possibly shock the world and complete one of the greatest comebacks we've seen in mixed martial arts. When we think of big upsets in the world of combat sports, none bigger comes to mind than when Buster Douglas defeated the Phenom himself, Mike Tyson, that really shook up the boxing world. When we look at the word persevere, continue in a course of action, even in the face of difficulty or with little or no prospect of success. Looking at Anthony Smith's career, he's 31-13. He's 30 years old. And when we look at his early rise in mixed martial arts, in his first 11 fights, he went 5-6. So just put yourself in that position where you're 11 fights into this sport and you've got a losing record. I'm sure a lot of doubt came in. I'm sure a lot of discouragement started setting in. And I'm sure the prospect of a world title fight in the UFC someday seemed a little bit out of reach. But he stayed with it. Still had some hiccups along the way, like 3-fight losing streaks. Got himself into Strikeforce and had a 2-2 record in Strikeforce. Was cut there. Made it all the way to the UFC back in 2013. Lost his first fight in the UFC by a first-round knee bar and was cut afterwards. Got into Bellator, got a couple wins, but didn't last there long. Kept fighting, kept winning. Made his way back to the UFC in 2016, where he's went 7-2 in that time. So even in his second stint inside the UFC, he's had some letdowns. He's had some losses. Since moving to 205 pounds, he's went 3-0. Got a couple big wins over legends of the sport, Rashad Evans and Mauricio Shogunua. Then beat a top 5 contender in Volkan Oezdemir by a third-round rear naked choke win. And now finds himself in the perfect place at the perfect time to take on the longtime reigning champ, who many feel is the greatest to ever step in the cage, a man nobody's ever been able to beat, in Jon Jones. This is a very inspiring story, and it's definitely something to root for Saturday when watching this card. The odds show, and I agree with the odds, that it's very highly unlikely that Smith is the one that pulls off this win against Jon Jones. But what a great story it would be if he did. And it should be a very inspiring story to young fighters who have had hiccups and have had letdowns and haven't seen their potential manifested inside the cage, to stick with it, to stay grinding, never give up, and keep fighting, because you just might hit that streak that takes you to places that you probably never expected to go. And I think that's what we have in Anthony Smith. It's a great story. I enjoy stories like this. And I'm going to be rooting for Anthony Lionheart Smith this Saturday when that main event comes on for UFC 235.